Welcome to Sounds of the South with Josh Mullane and Dylan Gibbons.
All right, we the boys from Disgraced in.
What's up?
So yeah, you released a new track the other day.
Yeah, this Doom. We put it out on, like, we went through DistroKid, so they naturally put it out on loads and loads of platforms for us, like Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube, stuff like that. So we're trying to put it out wherever we can.
Yeah. Do you find it a bit difficult getting it out there? Because you say you use DistroKid, right?
Yeah.
Distribute it. It's in like a £40 a year or something like that.
I can't remember how much it was. I don't think it was that much.
No, I don't think it was, no.
It's not too pricey, but it does give you like a certain, or is it unlimited? You can put loads of music everywhere.
What we did was, like, I did it with the other guitarist, Ewan, and we are involved in, like, another project that hasn't really started yet. But we thought we'd do, like, the license on DistroKid that allows, it was like an account where you can, like, have two bands, so you pay, like, a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think it was something like £20 or something a year, and then you can put up as much as you want, and it's pretty quick as well to, like, go up.
Yeah, don't you set a date usually? Like,
yeah,
put up that date and it's just done. Yeah, it's pretty.
And that covers all platforms, doesn't it?
Yeah, they send the track out, and you upload the track, and then you upload the artwork, and then they do like a brief approval thing to check like the quality of the artwork and things, and then that gets sent to all of the platforms, and then they like gets back to you when it's going to go live and stuff. They advise you give it like 4 weeks, but we didn't do that.
No, we gave him like what, two weeks?
I think it was just under 2 weeks.
Under 2 weeks.
It went off fine though.
Yeah,
like,
it came out fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. So you produced this single yourself.
Yeah.
You did that in your home studio? You said?
Yeah. I live in like a 2-bedroom flat, so instead of having the other bedroom have a bed, we just got everything out and just put my desk in and all my guitars and things. So that's like a dedicated recording studio.
Nice setup then.
Yeah. I mean, like from uni with all like student loans and stuff, you know, like I sort of could justify buying a lot of gear because I was like, it's for my course and for my career and everything. So with every like term or like every semester and you get the next load of money that comes in, I was like, right, where's that new piece of outboard gear, that new guitar, that, you know, I mean, the new set of monitors and stuff like that. And I sort of was able to build myself a studio that could sustain itself. You know, I had all the gear that I needed, and nowadays you can do so much with software anyway. You don't need to spend loads. Yeah,
so I mean, I did the same with my student loan when it came in. I was like, get a new bass.
Yeah,
I've got a Fender P bass, and it was like I got a few pedals to go with it. And then, next thing you know, out of pocket, I was like, I've got 3 months of just living off beats.
Yeah.
I did the same thing because I used to study here actually, like 2 years ago, I don't know, something like that. And when my student loan first came in, I literally like spent like over $1.5 grand on my cymbals and all my drum stuff. Cause I was like, I ain't got to pay it back for it, you know. And now I'm like, bollocks, you know, I've got everything to pay back for.
Well. Yeah. Easily done though, isn't it?
100%.
So, what software do you use?
I use Logic Pro 10 or something at the moment. I went to college, Tottenham College and stuff, and they had iMacs and stuff, like, because I did a music course there, and they used Logic 8 or something like that, so 8 or 9. So I started really like learning with that, and then like 18th birthday got like an iMac as like a birthday present, and sort of used GarageBand for a while. So GarageBand's not that bad. It's like just a really, really stripped down version of Logic, and then like on eBay, I think I bought like it was like £35. Bought like Logic 8 Express, which is like a stripped version of Logic 8, and then I used that for a long time. Then went to uni, still had Logic 8, and it was playing up really bad. So one of the people I went to uni with like gave me a spare license to Logic 10, and I upgraded, and I've been using that ever since.
Nice. Just give it out. So what did you find building up like the release as well? How was that? Like marketing's quite difficult.
I think it's something that like bands neglect more than anything.
100%, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I'm in another band called the Disconnect.
Yeah.
And ages ago, like we went to Bristol to record 2 singles, and like the first single we need to like properly market.
Yeah, you're right though. They do neglect it quite a bit now.
Yeah.
Good. Right. So, how did you find the marketing, like building up, and then with the release of the single? How did you guys find it? do it as a 4, or like do you all work as a 5? Sorry, do you all work on marketing this?
I think we don't.
Single.
We probably don't actually collaborate as much as we should.
No.
I think we don't like talk about it that much. We just sort of we'll go about it in our sort of like own ways. It's hard to explain, but it's like we do like throw ideas into the group chat and that, but usually people just sort of they'll come up with an idea on their own and they'll be like, "Oh, I've sort of done this. Is that cool?" And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, like when you kind of suggest things, like, you know, you have, I guess, a better idea of, you know, things towards the band. Because like obviously, because I'm quite busy with my other band and stuff and all that, so like, I kind of leave a lot of the stuff up to you, which is, you know, but it's just how it is. Normal, you know, if you sort of kind of spread yourself out a bit more, you know, you kind of have to give and take a bit more on where the band you're in and what your not priorities are, but you've got kind of it's a lot of give and take, and because Jack seems to know what he's doing quite well, so I just kind of like, you know, have a little bit more of a backseat and let him kind of
I mean, the thing is, like, the thing I'm worried about is just I've seen so many other bands like neglect to promote their material properly. I feel like writing and then recording and producing and stuff is only like one half of trying to be successful and like getting your music out there. Like, yeah, you've got to have like a really good product. That's one thing. But if no one knows about it, you're not going to get anywhere with it.
Yeah,
so like you have to build
steps.
up a certain amount of hype and give it time for people to know like you went through different processes with like your other band and stuff.
Yeah.
Would you say that's hard in this scene as well that we have?
I wouldn't really necessarily say it's hard. It's more like, because like with Facebook, you know, you can obviously like schedule a post, and you can, you know, pay out like X amount of money to boost it
Promote it,
for how many weeks or months or whatever. It's not like it's hard as it is in the scene. It's just kind of
Keeping interest.
yeah, you know, because like once you see it a few times, you know, like it's good to keep people in like seeing it constantly. So they sort of keep it like in their memory. Like, you know, there's like some, you know, if they scroll through Facebook, they'll be like, oh, I've seen this before from this band and that. But you know, people do lose interest. So you got to kind of either mix up what you're sort of marketing, otherwise people are going to get a bit bored.
Definitely.
Or
It's definitely like it's tricky because like people they're not like interested in giving that much anymore. You know what I mean? Like if you post something on Facebook, like say you're promoting a video you put on YouTube, right? And you post a link to the YouTube video, and then like as an experiment, you post the video embedded into Facebook. Like 9 times out of 10, the video that's embedded into Facebook will always get more attention because you don't have to leave Facebook to watch the video. So like if you click on a YouTube link, it sends you away. That's like extra time spent.
People do find that.
No one like people don't care like anymore.
Yeah.
They're all they're doing is scrolling. Oh, I've got to leave my app to go to the. I don't care. I'll just keep scrolling.
they
Whereas
just
if
swipe
it's
that back off,
yeah,
yeah.
so if it's embedded, they'll probably press it and then they can stay on it. You know what I mean? And then they'll watch it. And so people just don't want to give that much effort. No, I mean, I'm the same. Like you know, what I mean, like
we all,
yeah, well,
yeah,
think
everybody
yeah,
does it really. So it's just really hard. You've got to like you were saying, Liam, like just keep putting it up there, make people see it all the time. You know, like if you have a logo or something that's recognizable, post it everywhere so people. You know, there's tons of bands in this local scene, but only maybe 3 or 4 of them stand out because you've seen their name or their logo
it's sort of
everywhere.
like a brand, isn't it? Really, you got to kind of establish like an image or yeah, like a brand. You know, like when you see like a Ralph Lauren, whatever, or a Gucci or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you kind of instinctively know like what that is, and
Without even thinking about it.
Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
if you kind of like market all your things as like a brand, you know, there's a bit of a heads up for people to sort of then notice it on Facebook and be like, oh, I know this from that, and then they click and they're like, oh yeah, this is like that band and or whatever you're trying to put out there, really.
Yeah.
Making your product recognisable.
pretty much, yeah.
I feel like well, like because social media is such a great way to promote
100%,
everything, like especially
100%.
a band. But I kind of feel like as much as it's easier, I feel like it's also made people not really want to pay much attention anyway. Like, it's harder to get to people, even though it's so easy to use.
No,
Like, it's so easy to
100%.
just put it out there in seconds.
Yeah.
I feel like it's harder to get to people because people just want to sit on their phones now, like we were saying a minute ago. Like it's like what, £5 a ticket to go to a live show?
Yeah.
Not like there's just less people supporting the scene because like I mean, who knows what they're up to, but
yeah, people
I
don't
feel
like
people
to.
are getting lazier now.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just don't want to get
even
out.
if it's like a local show, you know, because a lot of my friends live in Southampton, and like, you know, I'll tell them there's a show like maybe at the Joiners or Suburbia or like the Alex or whatever, you know, and it's like a £5 to a tenner to get in, and you invite like all your mates on Facebook, and they all say that, you know, they click the little thing saying they're going, but you know, just say 100 people say they're going to go, we'll maybe even get about 20 of them that actually turn up.
Yeah,
know,
it can be tough.
just how it is.
And usually find when you contact privately like your mates, like come down.
Yeah,
it'll be a good one. Then like most of them just last bit like come on tonight, mate.
Yeah, so many people.
You kind of know what it is. It's like I mean, if fair enough, you genuinely do have something going on. I get that.
Yeah,
but like, don't say you come in.
Yeah,
just come down. It's not expensive really either. I mean, again, it's a £5. I know that if you're doing it quite often, that's money. Yeah. But then again, like you could be going to the pub and spending a tenner at the same time. Yeah. So there are people out there that are like getting out and doing the shows and stuff. And I think that you know, we're fortunate we've got one in the band really. Like Lee, our singer, he's out there like every week, like meeting people and getting to know people. Like he's in Suburbia at like district nights every Friday. Every time he's there on Facebook, just come out.
And there are like there's a handful, and that handful, like a lot of them did come to our first show, and you know, you could probably imagine the ones who didn't might come to the next ones. So there are people out there, and like we're definitely grateful for those people. I'm trying to like be one of those people. I work unsociable hours, so it's a nightmare. Like I'm working until like 2 a.m. sometimes, and a lot of the nights. So so it means I can't go out and be involved, and I want to be. And there's probably a lot of people like that as well. So it's a shame, but yeah, I think it's just getting out there and just showing your name and showing the brand as much as possible is probably the best thing. And people just
even like during shows, like, you know, even if you're just going to watch a show, it's always a nice kind of step to make that extra leap and be sociable with like the bands, even if you're not playing with them, or even if you don't really like their sort of music. You know, they might know someone that puts on heavy shows or puts on indie shows or does all that. So it's always nice to kind of go the extra mile and try and be a very sociable band.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if like, you know, you don't really agree with what they play, or you know, even if like
if it's just not your taste, I suppose.
Exactly, it's always nice because like, you know, you could speak to someone who's putting on a bloody country gig, but like they could know someone who knows someone else that puts on like heavy shows or whatever, you know, and then that's just your sort of ticket in.
It's like another, it's like your foot in the doorway.
Yeah, it's just it's just all about networking, really. I mean, like it's always awkward trying to be the sociable one at a gig, you know, trying to not ask for gigs but ask for gigs at the same time in a non-discreet way. But it's a lot of like, you know, a lot of ass kissing, and but not in the sense where you're like, you know, being two-faced or acting like someone you're not. It's, you know, sweet. Like,
it's just being like overly friendly in a sense.
Trying to be like nice.
Yeah, be supportive.
Confident.
That's relationships. Yeah, it's got to be done. Yeah, it's like you've definitely like, especially when you play with like bands who are even in the same sort of genre as you. Like, it's all just good to be friendly. It helps out later. Like, if they really like you guys, you know, you kind of all become mates, play a few shows together. Next year they could have a bigger show, and they're like, "Oh yeah, do you guys want to play with us?" It's like that's just another show, put you on straight away. It's like that's the sort of stuff you need, and it's like it also helps. Like if someone doesn't have a piece of gear, if you're friendly enough with the other band, am I able to use your amp?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
which doesn't happen often. Don't get me wrong, but like, you know, strings do break on stage.
Yeah, it could be anything. Like, you know, like Liam might not be able to make one of our shows soon, and you know, if we're like chummy with enough bands, they could be like, you know, oh, do you mind like standing in, or like, oh, we know your material and stuff, like, you know, I'm happy to stand in for a show or something like that. Well, it's always useful.
That's something I'm doing as well at the end of the month, because there's a band called Deference. They're like a Southampton local band, I think.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And their drummers now just kind of just decided that his time's done, and he just doesn't really want to do the band anymore. Well, I think.
I mean, they've been about for a while.
They've been around for a very long time. And the drummer left, and because we've played a few shows with Deference before, like in my other band. So like I'm quite chummy with some of the guys there, and they literally just reached out to me on Facebook and asked if I could do like a couple tours, well, a couple dates on a tour that they're doing at the end of the month. And I just said, you know, that's just another way to get out there. You know, even if it's not in your band, if you get asked to do something, you know, that could maybe get your foot in the right direction. You know, because now that I'm doing this with Deference, I could then maybe call them for a favour. You know, if I know they're playing a show and they need support, I could either come down for Disgraced, you know, and be like, oh, you know, we can do this if it fits their music better, or I could send it towards my other band, you know, depending on what sort of style it is. If it's more like angrier and like heavier, Disgraced. If it's more like, well, I guess angrier as well, but like a bit more not as hurting people, you know, trying to crowd kill and stuff. You know, but it's just it's all about sort of being really chummy, and then like if you do someone a favor, you can then reciprocate that and ask for something back in return if the time comes to it, you know. But yeah, it's all just about trying to be chummy and network, and
definitely
just going out your way to do, like, you know, it's quite stressful for me because I've had to learn. Well, when we started this Disgrace, I had to learn all their material. I had my main band as well to rehearse with, in between working full time, and now learning all the Disgraced material. Deference material. Sorry. You know, and I've got the first rehearsal with them next Monday, and then again like a few days before we go out on the tour. You know, so it's quite stressful, and having 2 rehearsals before a tour, you know, it's not really for me. It's like a bit of a shot in the dark, really. But you know, if you're prepared enough and you put the hours in to kind of do it, you know, it should be a breeze. You know.
Yeah.
It's good to see that in the local scene, isn't it? Bands helping each other out and having good relations.
If they asked me like maybe like a year ago, I would have been like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because I'm too loyal to my band. Yeah. But there's just something just clicked. I was just like, you know, if I get out there and do more, even if it's not in my main band, it could open doors up for Disgraced or the Disconnect. You know, so it's always a nice idea to sort of just throw your hat in the ring and just see what you come out with. You know.
I mean, you're still working up the ladder if you think.
100%,
about it,
100%, man. Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. I think it's also good, like, as band members to sort of speak to, I guess you say, fans. You know, I personally I like it when people come up at the end after the set and they chat, especially other bands as well. But people just come and enjoy the show. Like, like the chat's great. Like a lot of people, I feel like, kind of stay clear from it. I know that obviously if it's a bigger band, majority of the time you won't even be able to speak to them. But you know, shows where like in the local scene, you know, like fans should just come up and talk. It's nice. Really, have a drink and have a chat. We're not going off after. Like, I'm not just because I'm putting my guitar in the car. Something like.
Yeah, it's definitely rewarding. It's sort of like it's like what you're doing it for. Really, is like it's a lot of fun being up on stage, but it's always it's made so much better when you can tell other people enjoy it. Like you're giving out a lot of energy. I always like have in my mind where like a gig isn't just like a band like putting on a show. It's actually like really like half and half. Like the band's got to give a lot of energy. The crowd has got to give that energy back. So you know what I mean? Like, and the more energetic the crowd is, the more energetic the band can be. Definitely. If it's a band that is playing to a man and his dog, they're not going to be like going crazy on stage, headbanging and stuff, you know. But if they're playing to a packed out room of people like getting into it, they could go like crazy on stage. Yeah. And like afterwards in a show, you know, there's always that thought of like, oh, I hope that went well, you know, I hope. Because like you can't hear anything on stage, really. You can't hear anything. But you know, so like to have somebody come up afterwards and be like, "That was great," or like, you know, really cool, and like I'll love to come to the next one and stuff. It's just like it makes it all worth it because you feel like validated.
Yeah, definitely.
It's humbling. It makes you want to do it more as well.
100%, 100%.
Well, I saw Lee put a video up actually. You played a show at the Joiners the other day, didn't you?
Yeah.
And like there was crowd killing, at least a form of crowd killing in the video. I thought, yes. Like, so you definitely get the response that you'd prefer.
Yeah. Like, I already think that guy's a legend, so I'm like, I hope he comes to the other ones and get into it, mate.
He's actually one of my closest friends as well. So like, you know, if like, he used to come to a lot of my other band shows and stuff, and like, you know, they're like my friends that like sort of just come and throw down, and it's like, you know, because because it's always weird like at shows, like especially if you're the first band opening the show, you know. Like, all the crowd seem a bit awkward and they kind of don't want to do anything too soon and stuff, you know. After a couple of drinks, you know, everyone starts kind of floating a bit more. They don't really care. But like if you have like a group of friends that sort of come with you as well, you know, they sort of get the crowd going as well, which makes you perform better as well. Because like I have like a group of 3 or 4 mates that just come down and like they'll like because they're my friends and like I'm playing, they'll just do it, you know, just go ham and get other people in the crowd involved, and then it makes us sort of play a bit better because we can see people enjoying themselves. And it's like the sort of same thing as like when you're playing live, especially like with us and my other band, like we all play with like backing and like I play with a click and stuff in my ear. And I'm always worried about, either like logic breaking or like me playing out of time because like all the adrenaline running through me. But I guess it's sort of like, you want to play as tight as you can, but also like play a show, because I guess like in that realm, like in the studio, you want to be as tight as you can. And
it's got to be a polished.
Yeah, it's got to be like the best performance you can do. But with like live, it's not just playing your material live; it's also like giving them a show.
Performing.
So you're sort of allowed to give a little bit of slack.
Yeah, I feel like that just comes into it anyway. Like, especially as guitarists, there's a lot of jumping and headbanging and all that.
Yeah.
Like, it can be quite an ag to play. And I guess for the vocalist, it must be the worst. I mean, I've not done that myself, but you can tell it's definitely. But it's just got to be so much energy, and a lot of bands around here put that in, and it's nice to see because actually the crowd's quite rewarding. Yeah. I mean, last time I actually saw Crowd Killing was when I saw Desolated. Must have been like 16, so that was like 3 years ago or so. So, but I don't know if they still go around anymore. But
I think they've just they're reuniting for like one show.
Yeah, I just saw that on Facebook the other day.
I think they're doing one show.
Yeah. Sure what that is.
No,
I don't know.
I don't actually know. Yeah, I'm
not sure. Yeah,
I don't know.
Sorry, Desolated. I'll have a look after this. But no, it's definitely it's the thing is like you were saying, like you feel like that sort of side of the music scene is sort of dying down a bit, and I feel like people appreciate if you just do music like without necessarily like compromising it, like what the actual music is. Like I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, I've started listening to it a bit more because of this band, but like before this, I wouldn't sort of listen to necessarily like really heavy, like beat down bands and stuff. I would listen to things that are maybe a little bit more like technically challenging or whatever. But then I just wanted to like do a live show, like a live band or something like that, in which case I wanted to like put together music that's just like uncompromising and like real heavy and stuff, because I don't feel like around here especially there's like many just like really heavy bands where you just go and you're like, I haven't seen something like that heavy in like ages, or you know what I mean, or like you play a lineup of like 5 or 6 bands, and I quite enjoy the fact that we know we'll probably stick out as being like the heaviest band of the night.
Yeah,
and people will be like,
it's like a gig on that Sunday at the Joiners. I'm pretty sure we were like the heaviest band, like just even, and we were the opening. And it's also good to sort of kind of, I don't know, like have like, well, not like an image or anything really, but it's more like something for you can like stick out. So if you're like the heaviest band on a set, even if you are like the opener, like we were, like if you give something different, people are going to remember you being like, oh, do you remember that first band? They were like super heavy. It was really good. Everyone was crowd killing, other than being like, oh, did you hear that band? Like Third On. Yeah, they were good, but nothing to take back from it. You
usually take it back to their mates. Go,
yeah, exactly.
This show the other night, the support act were just so heavy. Check them out. Then all their mates are like, oh, actually, start playing that in the car a bit, and the next thing you know, loads more people turn up to shows. Well.
I mean, don't get me wrong, we're not like writing music for the sake of being heavy. Like we want it to be good.
Course. Yeah, exactly.
But it's sort of like, it's like a lot of bands will write music because it's what everyone else is doing, and they then think that they're going to be popular because, like, say, like if you take a metalcore band or something like that, and they write super cliche riffs and super like overdone things, and they use vocals that are just done and done and done because it's popular. Like in a sense, it's just saturating that area more and more to a point where like no one can stand out. So if you just write stuff not because you're like trying to emulate anyone else, or like not because you're trying to be like anyone else, you just want to be like you, like I feel like Lee has got quite a sort of, his voice doesn't sound like every other like metal screamer's voice.
Yeah, no,
and
I do agree.
I like to start with, I was sort of like, oh, it's sort of different, and I don't know if I want it to sort of be a bit more like this band or something, but now I'm sort of appreciating the fact that it is different, and people will probably, it's becoming more recognizable that way. Like if you play a band or something to a friend and you're like, oh, you'll know who it is as soon as the vocals come in. Like, I'd quite like to be like that, you know what I mean? Where like the band comes in and somebody might not know, and then Lee's vocals come in and they're like, oh, that's Disgraced because Lee's got a distinctive vocal sound or something like that. Or
I'd say that like with bands like Architect. First time I heard him, I thought he had quite a different
100%, man.
scream sound, and like when I heard it, I was like, well, I actually like this a lot more than the ones I've heard in the past.
Well, it's like that whole like metalcore scene, like 2008 sort of thing. You know, there was like what good like handful of bands that were all the same. You know, like Ask Alexandria, bloody Attack, you know, all that stuff. Like, and they were, I guess, from what you were saying, like writing stuff just for the sake of it. You know, they were all the same. Like, there wasn't anything that really stood out. But like, where are those bands now? You know, they've either changed their sound a bit to like something a bit more commercial, or they're just off the grid. You know, so if you keep doing
got their money in,
if you keep doing things fresh and, you know, like changing up and not doing it for the sake of
like trying to be popular.
Yeah, like, you know, it's that you're sort of giving them a reason to keep listening and doing things. Because if you change something too much, they're going to be like, oh, I don't know, you might alienate like a couple of your old fans or whatever. But it's always good to sort of not keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, because most people get bored as well. But at the same time, it's kind of staying true to you as a musician, or as a group of musicians. Like, if you've all kind of steered your sound away. Like, a different example, but like the Arctic Monkeys, they released like all those indie tunes, and now this album's like just a full piano album. And personally, I love it, but it's just changing, and like they're all clearly clear on what they wanted to go on to, and it's clearly worked for them. But some people hate it.
It's the same as like
it's just gonna happen though.
Like if you look at Bring Me the Horizon with like their new album Ammo and stuff, like that's really it's like split the fans, like the fans that they're like. But the thing is, like they haven't just done something for the sake of, I mean, you know, when you get to a point where you've got like millions plus listeners on Spotify every month,
it's not really a hassle.
It doesn't matter too much because some of those people will like it. Yeah. But they've taken a risk of doing something totally different. I mean, they sort of went that way from like Sempiternal into like that's the spirit.
Was a little bit different.
Yeah, like it already like hit a different sort of target audience. But now with like Ammo, it's like a pop album almost. It's like I can imagine those songs being like Taylor Swift songs, some of them, like Medicine and stuff. But I think they've done like really well because no one else has done that, or no one else did it that way. And like look at them now; they're bigger than they've ever been.
Yeah.
Because like they are them. Like they've done something unique, and I think that more bands should do that kind of thing.
Like shot everything up for him. I mean, that album was a big change anyway.
Yeah.
And like it just kicked off from there. And I mean, that album was brilliant when it came out. It was amazing. Then they what was the album after called?
It's good. That's the Spirit, I think.
Oh yeah,
the black one with the umbrella.
Yeah. And to be fair, it was like still thought it was pretty cool. It was a lot more different, but they were drowning between the single. I don't know if that ended up on the record or not.
I think it did.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
but that was so different to the rest of that album.
Yeah,
I was like, fair, and people liked it, but I mean, they've slowly gone. I guess in a sense more commercial, but
definitely much more like.
I think
like it's still like it's still appealed to some of the core fans, but it appeals to a lot of new fans.
I mean, they've come from a different place anyway, haven't they? All together, they had a different audience to start out with, really.
Yeah,
so
They reference it a lot in that album, like in the new album, talking about like how they just don't like. People will say that the album is not like metal like it used to be, but they clearly don't care too much. Like they're just doing it because they just want to like make something different.
Definitely,
you know.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think it's just tricky. Like you got to like take the risk, I guess. If you want to do it as a musician, you got to take the risk, but there is a risk of losing.
I mean, it's setting yourself apart, but keeping interest, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I mean, there's so many bands like NoFX, as an example. They're like obviously punk rock, but most of their albums sound the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a fan of them, but like they've got diehard fans and all that, but it does get too samey for a lot of people.
Yeah, look at like AC/DC and stuff like that. Like you've heard one album and you've no offense to AC/DC, one song and you've heard every song really.
I mean, no offense to them, because they
or like fans or whatever, because they've clearly done very well.
Yeah. But well, it was new back then, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Look at it now, but
yeah,
definitely. I feel like there's a lot of one-hit wonders out there as well.
Yeah.
I think after that, you kind of just go, release a couple of songs for fans who are interested. Then the money's all come from that one song.
It'll be interesting. I mean, if you like take it and just apply it all to like what we're trying to do, because like we're a brand new band, we've done one song, but the thing is like we're made up of like people who do have like knowledge and experience from doing like university courses, and also like we're like quite heavily involved in like the music industry now, like where we're just like basically everyone we talk to is involved in it and stuff. Like, we can take a lot of experience and knowledge and put it towards like now, like Disgraced is kind of like a combination of a lot of efforts and stuff that a lot of us have done. Like Lee has never been in a band before, but he's popped up on stage with other bands. He's like written lots of lyrics. He's like had this idea in his head for a really long time. I've been in lots of other little projects that have never sort of like got off the ground and started like gigging properly, but I've written tons of material and you know, like now I know a lot more about how to like promote and build up hype for releasing songs. And like you've like done a lot of like Liam, you've done a lot of like stuff in your old band where you've got a lot of like experience playing live and all this kind of stuff. So now we have to take all that experience and like put it into this project, you know. So we've got like an entire EP ready. We have like stuff. We've got like stuff like down the pipeline that we like have planned out. That's not like
it's not even close to being like announced or anything. But
it's
always good to kind of plan out beforehand. So you like once you've had that idea, you just sort of get it done then. So then it's nothing to stress about.
When you're closest or when
with our idea for the EP, you know, we want to actually put it up on DistroKid like months and months and months before we actually want to release it, just so we can have it up there, set the date for it,
just build hype
and not worry about it, so we can just then focus on marketing and making sure people are going to know about it when it releases. You know, and like maybe like release like 1 or 2 singles beforehand, like a month or 2 like apart.
Singles are definitely the way, because they're monthly as well. People are like, oh, there's another song by this band, sick.
Exactly. And
so
even like doing music videos, you know, that's still like, even you can just release a bit of music and that's it. That's, you know, everyone's can hear the song, but if you give them more of a product to enjoy, you know, they're gonna kind of be like, oh, this is, you know, this band's really good. You know, they're putting a lot of time and effort into actually like lifting up their music and product and just trying to get it off the ground. Really, like we've been talking about doing a video for one of our songs. But it's just more like trying to find the time off to.
Yeah, we don't want to like start telling people, because the problem is so many bands and projects that I've seen have been like, oh, we've got this one song, we're so excited about releasing it, we're going to release it, boom, like we've got this artwork and whatever, we put it out, brilliant. Everyone's like, oh, cool. And like, what else? And then the band's like, oh, well, you know, we haven't done that yet, we're going to work on that now. And it's sort of like, and then anything can happen in that period of time where they just don't do anything else. Like I've done it before. Like I put songs out on like YouTube and stuff, and I've been like, this is great, like people like it. And then something's happened, or like things have happened where you can't carry on the momentum. Like the way you've got to do it is just build that wave of momentum and just never stop. You know, like we'll release this one song, we're doing a load of gigs coming up, we have other stuff ready to release, and we're just gonna wait until the moment is right and then drop that. Keep going. We've got all this material like backed up, and like we said, we've got the EP plan. We've got stuff after that planned. Like it's so far in advance. You know what I mean? Like we just got to keep that like.
It's always good
forward thinking. You know what I mean?
Ready.
Yeah.
But you'll keep interest, won't you?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So.
Yeah, it's the best way to do it. So what shows have you got upcoming?
It's difficult, really, because like a lot of them haven't been actually
announced.
And any that have been announced anyway.
There's 2, right? I think the 7th of May.
That's at Suburbia.
Suburbia, yeah.
Playing with Borders.
Yeah, Borders are cool. I think they're playing a pretty cool festival. I think it's like Tech Fest or something like that, which is awesome. But we've got like on the bill, I think is we've got like the Human Veil, Scolds is on there. I think there's one more, isn't there? I think there's 5 bands in total.
Yeah,
so us, Scolds.
I couldn't name them right now.
Oh yeah, I can't remember, but it might be 7th Sea.
Oh yes, I think 7th Sea, and I think also End of Days, which I know because I'm quite chummy with them 2 bands. Because in my other band, you know, I've played a lot with them 2 guys, and they're those 2 bands, and they're all really nice guys.
I think End of Days might just playing Moshfest actually. I don't think they're playing Borders yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
right,
that's that show coming up. That'll be cool. We're going to be opening on it. Again, obviously, it's going to be like second show or something like that. So we're just happy opening as long as we can sort of set it off with a bang. And I feel like we have a fairly memorable set.
I mean, listening to your single, that is set it off with a bang. Yeah, surely.
Yeah. Basically, we open the set with a little intro thing, and then we like go straight into that song that we release and stuff, and it's like pretty punchy. The other thing that we have confirmed and announced is Moshfest. It's at Suburbia, but it's like
it's like an all day.
Yeah,
thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Like
well, it's spanned over 2 days, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
But
Each year, I think they do like all days, like all day lineups, but this year I think they're doing
like
2
festivals.
Yeah, they're doing like a Saturday and Sunday deal this time. I think we're going to be playing Sunday, the 30th of June.
Yep.
We don't know what time yet though, because all that stuff. Like, there's more bands to be announced, and it'll be much closer to the time, but it'll probably be kind of early.
Yeah.
But again, like we just want to go and like create something memorable.
Like, it's all right that it's early because you're getting out there.
Yeah.
So it's good. Any other bands on that lineup?
Yeah, it's quite. I think the biggest band is a band called Envisions.
Yeah, that's it. Envisions.
They are like headlining and End of Days, like you said.
And Seventh Sea, and they're both like really good bands, and they're all the guys that are really super friendly. Because like I said, I know them from my other band, and I played with them a few times. It's just who else? I can't remember who else is playing though.
I'm not sure at the moment. There's quite a few though, and the thing is like we're playing Sunday, but I'm definitely making the effort to go down Saturday. Because
definitely.
Like again, like we said, just make the effort to be there, support other bands, and like eventually you want to get to a point where it's sort of like somebody might come up to you like on a day where you're not playing, and be like, oh, you're in Disgraced, right? And or they'll be like, oh, it's Jack and Liam from Disgraced, they're like here for our show. It's cool. Like we'll go and see their show,
show your support. Yeah,
exactly.
Done like that.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's good at the same time. Like that is a part of like where you want to go. Because it might just sound like we're just going
for the sake of trying to get shows, but it's not even that. It's just also just because I enjoy the local scene as well. Because it's just even like there aren't really many big bands that have come out from Swampton, other than like like Our Hollow Home and like Bury Tomorrow and all that.
Yeah.
But like it's always good just to show your support because if you're also trying to start a band in the scene, it's sort of like just kind of I wouldn't say paying respects.
Yeah, but like we know that we would appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like if it's sort of like if you go to support them, they might come and support you.
The likelihood is they do as well.
Exactly.
They tend to. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Would you guys say it's hard to get shows in Southampton, or do you reckon
it's all about who you know, man?
Yeah, definitely.
Because like before I joined the Disconnect, I had like little to no experience like in the scene or getting shows and stuff. And then when I joined. Like our vocalist James, like he already was in a band prior to starting the Disconnect. So he already had like a fair bit of like communication, like for people, for like promoters and like other people in bands and stuff. Just literally about all who you really know. And like luckily for us, we have Lee who like goes to God knows how many shows around Southampton. So he's like super friendly with like a lot of people that know other people that put on shows and stuff, because we play like hardcore beatdown music, and like he's I guess like I wouldn't say known for like listening to mainly angry beatdown music.
He has that like image though.
Yeah, so like it's quite nice for him and for us to have like Lee in the band now, because like I know for a long time he's wanted to start doing live and stuff. But yeah, it's sort of
it's definitely who you know, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, man.
Like, because if it was just me, say like I was responsible for putting on shows, it'd be difficult because I wouldn't know the right people. But like being in this band, like we played that one show at the Joiners, and we were like offered like maybe 4 or 5 other shows off of that because of like who's in the band and who we know and who came. Yeah. Because of the fact like the people in the band, like Lee brought his friends and other people brought their friends to the show, saw us play, because he's like mates with them and stuff. Like we were offered those shows and offered those other opportunities. So like I've been surprised how easy it's been, but that's just because of the fact that Lee knows the right people and that you probably know the right people and stuff like, because I don't know the right people on my own. I mean, now I do, but like before I did.
It is definitely who you know, but there's also no shame in just asking around.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone starts out at a point.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I know for me, like I'm not the most social person. I mean, I can be if I want to be, but there is no shame in just like hitting up some guy on Facebook if you know he puts on gigs and just say, oh look man, I'm in this band. Could you send him like your single or whatever you have to show him? And that it is who you know, but don't be scared to also just ask around.
Yeah,
you know,
get out there. Really,
yeah, that's it. You got to keep pushing and pushing people, like, but not be too pushy as well. Otherwise, people should be like, oh, you know, is this guy again? You know, messaging me about playing a show.
Yeah,
you know, so it's definitely who you know, but there's also like a big thing where you just don't be scared to ask.
Yeah, definitely.
Just do it as well. You know, it's a lot of like just having the confidence to go up to someone and say, look, man, like, if you're putting on a show, I'm in this band, like, here's our stuff, whatever. Sorted. But then also, if you know someone, you could just call them up and say, oh, yeah, man, you got any shows coming up in like a couple of weeks or like a month's time? You know, we're free.
Yeah, then that's it.
But it's just asking.
Yeah, I mean, it can be easy, I guess.
It can be just as hard as well.
It's when you start. I feel like that's when it's really hard. I think usually just jump on like the support slot for
that's it. Yeah,
for show or a showcase show.
Yeah, I mean, we were given our first show off of like the fact that like the headlining band was a band that I was like working with to do their recordings. So he said like, we're putting on the show to release this like load of songs, and do you want to do the open? Like, because the thing is, like, he had no evidence to see how good we were live because we'd never played before. No. So yeah, like, it's just like, you know, you do favors for people and they'll do favors for you, definitely. And stuff like that.
Would you say the scene is like, I don't know, like, is it going anywhere in your eyes? Like, a band's going anywhere?
I don't know, man. Like, when I was like 13 and stuff, like I remember like going to the Joiners and watching like Bury Tomorrow when they were like no one knew who they were, you know, and then they just kind of blew up like that. And then like as I kind of got older and started getting into more shows and like playing a bit live like on my own and stuff, like I kind of noticed it was a bit going like downhill a little bit more. I don't know if that was just because like the style of music was changing, you know, because like Bury Tomorrow very metalcore, and then like there was a lot more like I guess beat down and hardcore bands coming in, and like so it was sort of bringing like everything else a little bit down. And now I know it's just very like standstill. There's not really a lot happening. There isn't really much breaking through, or there's like so many bands that just like do one or two things and they just fall off the grid again. So it's all like, so what we're trying to do, you know, is just kind of keep like the same sort of taste for people, because at the minute I think there is a lot of beatdown and hardcore crowd killy sort of style bands out there. Well, not just in Southampton, I think just in general, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think we're also trying to keep that taste of like what people are expecting, but then also trying to make it more like, well, I guess a bit more unique, you know, so we can kind of peak up and then hopefully trying to get ahead of the competition, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think we're in a good position because we've said that like a lot of people bring different things to the band, and like the other guitarist, Ewan, is like really good at like engineering for live stuff. Like he set up our show and we did a lot of rehearsal before our show. Yeah. And so like you were saying, like bring something a bit new. So like, yeah, we do like beat down and hardcore and stuff like a lot of other bands do, but we want to make sure that because like live is where people can really stand out. Yeah. Like especially if you're in, like when we played our show, it was like 7 bands. We wanted to make sure that we gave like a really good show. So like he's really good at doing all our technical stuff. Like we had like one tiny mishap at the end of the set, but it didn't affect us too much just because of our rehearsal. Like we rehearsed a lot, so like our backing track cut out and stuff, so our bass dropped out, but we were able to like keep going, and we didn't necessarily need the click or any support like that to play through the rest of the song, which was fine. But you know, like he's good with like we run it from a laptop and everything, and it like creates like good effects for our guitars and things like that, and we just want to like not just deliver like a really heavy show, but like a really tight show, and make sure that people know that we're like serious about it and take it seriously.
They see like the level of like professionalism.
Yeah, that's important, I think, because like a lot of people just want to get out there, play shows, drink, like have a good time, and it compromises the fact that they don't realize that like they're working on a business, really. Like, yeah, sure, like if you're doing your band to like make money, you're not in the band for the right reason, because no one makes money from their band.
Makes money doing music.
But it's sort of like creating what's the word? So it's like as if like there's a really famous brand but they don't sell anything. You could then like go into other places and you're like well known. So like say you want to start then making like building guitars, like people will be like, oh, well, you're from Disgraced, that band, like your guitars will probably be decent because your music's decent. Or say like take Nick from Our Hollow Our Home, right? Like people will go to him for like recording and production and stuff, not necessarily even because they knew his brand, but because they knew him from his band. Like Our Hollow Home is much more popular than his other brand.
I mean, I went to him for that reason.
Exactly. You know, like we did. And but it was because we knew that he's in that band. So it's like, oh, it must be pretty good. So at the end of the day, like we want to make sure that we have like a good like brand appearance, if you know what I mean.
Brand and reputation, I guess. Yeah. Because in my other band, we went to record in Bristol. And we went to Johnny Renshaw, who's the guitar player for Devil Soldier's Soul. Right. He like did he recorded like Blood Juice first EP, Casey's first EP. So he's done like, you know, I guess like I wouldn't say higher tier bands, but you know, well known enough in like the heavy music scene, which cost us, you know, an absolute fortune. But we went because we knew his reputation and we knew he was in quite a high caliber band himself. Exactly. So you know, that's sort of like if you want to get around doing music, you know, you need to have that good reputation of being just, you know, good, really.
Yeah.
You know,
good quality sound, but also good quality music in general.
Yeah.
Like your writing has to be good. But then again, it's all taste. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's
a bit hit and miss.
All taste.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you say you've enjoyed it more forming a band with everyone who has experience rather than starting out with just four lads who've never done anything before?
I don't know, because I've done like bands before where we've had no experience playing live or anything. You know, we had like the crappiest gear, and just, like, you know, just complete load of a train wreck waiting to happen sort of thing. You know, and it's fun learning like to do all that with your friends and stuff. But like it's also like if you want to keep doing music seriously, it's also nice to get with a group of lads or whoever who's also had some experience doing live or like anything, you know, like even like recording, you know, if you go to a guy that's never done it before, you're just going to be watching him and it's just like, nah. It's I guess it's like a sort of what you prefer, like, you know, learning to play live and stuff with your friends is always going to be a fun time.
Definitely.
You know, because you're all going to learn and be like, oh, that was sick. You're going to be super hyped up and be like, yeah, we're going to do this next time and get better. But it's also good to be in a band, I guess, with other members that have had some sort of experience doing it, so you're not just like learning from scratch, so you can sort of just hop in and you know your place already. You know,
you're hopping in at a professional level as well. You're quite serious about doing it.
Well, with Lee, like Lee's never done like vocals like for like a full set before. But he's done like guest vocals and stuff, and whereas like I've played drums live like I know a fair amount, a good enough amount. Jack and Ewan have also done live, you know, a good amount of times. So I think it was quite nice for Lee coming into this. When he started this project, it was quite nice for him to know that the rest of us had a good amount of experience playing live. So like, if he wasn't like, you know, given 100% live because it was his first show, like he'd know that we'd sort of make up for what he's not given. You know?
I think it's like that in every aspect though. Like Ewan and I are not. We haven't been out and like met a certain amount of people or whatever out in like bars and venues in town or something like that. But then Liam and Lee have, and so if we go with them, like we feel like backed up by the fact that they're confident in these certain situations, or like Liam was saying there, like we can pick up Lee if he's feeling a little bit less sort of confident on stage, and you know what I mean, and other members who have like more experience in some places can help like lift up the ones that need the help.
It sort of levels it out a lot.
So we're all kind of getting onto the same level here.
It's sort of like it's not trying to push them to be at your standard, but then it's not also them trying to drop you down to theirs. It's sort of kind of
just
balancing it, like, you know, that sweet spot where you can both sort of, well, all of you can sort of get the best sort of result you can give, like, and obviously then you sort of then gradually keep going up and up and up.
Nice dynamic to have in the band as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, that's all we have time for really, but
cool.
Do you single out?
Yeah.
So
exactly. It's called This Doom by Disgraced. So make sure you check it out. It's on Spotify or Apple Music or iTunes or whatever your preferred platform is.
YouTube as well.
Yeah, and there is a video on YouTube. Not like a music video or anything like that, but you can go and check it out on there too. So that would be really cool. And
got more stuff coming out.
Yeah,
hopefully in the future.
Yeah.
But that's just all.
That's it at the moment. And obviously we've got the, if you're around in Southampton
on the
7th of May,
Suburbia,
we'll be playing with Borders, and then at the end of June we'll be at Mosh Fest as well. So it'd be really cool to see lots of people there and have fun.
Just kill each other.
Have fun, isn't that?
Yeah, exactly.
Wicked, right.